Hello and welcome back, Funkoverts, to another Funkoverse tier list where we take some characters, we look at what they do, and we put them in the almighty JD tier list. I don't know how mighty it is, but it's mighty enough for me to call it that. Today's characters, we're going to take a look at the Nightmare Before Christmas pack. It's a 4-pack sold with Jack, Sally, Dr. Finklestein, and Oogie Boogie. When you buy the pack, it also comes with a map. It comes with 0 when you buy the pack. It's a pretty good pack to buy. All 4 characters we're going to find are pretty decent. And they do different things. Each one does a little something different. A little support here, a little leader action there. But we're going to take a look at these 4 and put them in the list. So let's take a look at what we got going on here. Like I said, we've got Jack, Sally, Dr. Finklestein, and Oogie Boogie. Our first character is yellow-blue. Our first character is yellow-blue. He has a 2 defense, and his trait is making Christmas. On their turn, allied characters within 2 squares of Jack may use his abilities as though they were printed on their card. So, in essence, as long as it doesn't say anything about line of sight, so as long as they're within 2 squares, 1, 2, all of these abilities are just like copy and pasted down here. Or if it was next to Finklestein, he would get the extra 3 abilities down here. So this is Halloween, Hail to the Pumpkin King, and what's this would be added to any character or ally that's within 2 squares, which is a pretty cool trait. I mean, if you have blue-yellow and then maybe another blue-yellow character and you're trying to figure out what you want to do and you need some extra bonus moves, Jack is pretty useful. Let's look at his first passable ability. This is Halloween. It's a yellow 3, so if you were to spend your yellow 3, you would get to do a challenge 3 to each adjacent standing rival. So like an AoE challenge 3 to everybody around you. So these are your 2 rivals. You're fighting both of them, you get to fight both of them, and you get 3 dice, which is a pretty good AoE. Just as good as like Kool-Aid Man's Move 1, Challenge 3, or his Splash Zone. Second ability here, Hail to the Pumpkin King. Move 1, give this character the Pumpkin King status card. So you're going to spend the yellow on the 1. You're going to be able to move 1. You can move 1. Move 1 anywhere. And then you get the status card, which when this character does an ability, you may discard the status card to decrease the cost of that ability by 2. So this second ability you're really going to want to use with like a high cost character. So you're going to get them within 2. Say you had Iron Man and you wanted to make one of his abilities that cost 4, cost 3, or cost 2 because it decreases by 2. So you keep them within 2. You keep your Sally or your Iron Man or Thanos, anybody who has a lot of cost. You keep them within 2 so that they can use the move with his trait. So on their turn, the characters within 2 can use his trait. So you're gonna want to pass that Pumpkin King status trait mostly off to other people because he's pretty cheap. I mean, unless you're going to use it in combo, if you have 2 yellows, unless you're going to use Hail to the Pumpkin King, and then maybe set up This is Halloween, because that's his highest cost move. An AoE Challenge 3 is for 1, if you have the status card, is pretty good. It's not a bad move, and it's better if you pass it, but for him, his stuff really isn't that cheap, or isn't that expensive, so. Let's look at his third ability here. What's this? Move 2, choose a standing ally or rival this character can see and pull them 1. So, I mean, it's a move 2 and a pull 1. So it's an ally or rival. So, and you have to be able to see them. So I could see you doing it to move 2 and then like pull an ally into the territory. That'd be pretty cool. You could forego the move 2 if you really wanted. If you were in a jam, say your opponent was going to get 2 points and it was going to end the game or something, you could forego the move 2 if it doesn't really help you. Say moving 2 doesn't get you into the point, you could just move 1 and then pull the character out of the territory. Or if they were like, say this was the flag, you could move, as long as it's a pull. You can't really stand next to them and pull. There's nowhere to pull. So you want to make sure that you land at least 1 square away so you can get that pull. But being able to pull an ally or pull a rival can be very useful in all situations, really. Say you're trying to pull somebody away from your leader, or you're trying to pull them out of the territory, pull them away from the flag, pull them away from the control point. Pushes and pulls are very big in the game. They're useful in all game types. I mean, being able to move 2 and pull 1, it's better than, I would say, the T-Rex's roar, because it's just a push, but it's like an AoE push. Oh man, it's tough to say. Being able to manipulate your opponent's characters, though, or move one of your characters in extra squares, is definitely a bonus. Movement is always a bonus in this game. Alright, our second character here is Sally. Sally is blue-gray. She has a defense of 2. Her trait is Ragdoll. At the start of the game, place the detachable arm minion token adjacent to Sally. If Sally is challenged and is within 4 squares of the detachable arm, she may swap places with it. Change the target of the challenge to the detachable arm. It's a mouthful. Okay, so short and sweet of it is at the beginning of the game, you place this cool minion token. It's the detachable arm. Her sew-on arm here. So as long as you're within 4, 1, 3, 4. Maybe even further, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's not spaces that you can move to. It's within spaces even through objectives. Or even through, I forget what they call the walls and stuff. Oh, I'm not sure what they call the big, like these barriers here. I forget what they call those. But it's within 4 squares, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And if she gets challenged, she can swap spots with the token to take the challenge to the token, which is pretty cool. It saves her a lot in leaders. You make Sally your leader, and then if they ever come to try to challenge you, you just swap places with the token. Just make sure that it's within 4 squares. You can also do weird things like, say you're here and you're in the territory and you get challenged, and you could swap spots with the arm. And then if you have Black Widow can swap spots with the arm to being an ally, which is pretty good. You can do a lot of stuff with the arm token. It is an ally. It is a minion token. It's pretty big. I find it very annoying to try to knock out a 2 defense arm. Like, I don't know about your rolls, but my rolls are never good enough to beat a 2 defense anything. It's honestly pretty tough. So with Sally swapping, if she's your opponent's leader, it's a nightmare to try to kill her. Those 4-point kills are few and far between when you got the arm token just taking all the shots for her. Alright, her first ability is a blue 1. And that just lets you place or move the detachable minion token adjacent to Sally. You can also use the detachable arm to you remove it from the board and place Sally in its square. So, say you're here, say Sally's here, say Finklestein tries to fight Sally, and Sally swaps with the arm, and of course the arm wins the challenge in defense. You can pay the 1 to remove the arm off the board and put it here. And then with your second ability, if you really wanted to, if you had another blue, you can just drop the arm again. So you can keep swapping and you can keep switching places with the arm as long as you have a blue token. And it doesn't give like any distance or line of sight or anything with the arm token. Remove the arm token from the board and place Sally in its square. So yeah, if the arm token was somehow over here and Sally was over here next to A, you could take A and then spend the 1 token to swap spots and just get rid of the arm and go into the enemy base or something. You could cross map anywhere as long as the arm is there in that square, and you have the blue to spend. That's pretty nuts. Let's look at her second ability. It's a 2 blue. Sally and it's called What Have We Here? Sally and the detachable arm minion token each do a different non-interact basic action. So if Sally and the arm are on the board, and say Jack was your friend, but Finklestein was your enemy, using What Have We Here, Sally and the arm token do different things. So say Jack was down and he's your friend, you could have Sally help up Jack and have the arm attack Finklestein. As long as Sally and the arm are doing 2 different things and neither one of those things is an interact, it's Gucci. You could move. You could have Sally move and have the arm attack Finklestein. Or if you wanted to, maybe it was the other way around, and you spend it and you want Sally to move closer and the arm attack Finklestein. Or say you're doing something weird where you want Sally to like move into here and they could attack Finklestein, and then you could attack with your second action. You could attack Finklestein and get a second basic attack. You could do a whole bunch of things with that as long as they're not doing the same thing and they're not interacting. So you couldn't have the arm take the token, take like point A, or Sally couldn't even take point A with this move here because it's a non-interact action. Let's look at her third ability here. It is Nightshade Soup. Challenge 3, roll 1 extra dice if the target is exhausted. So yeah, just a challenge 3. Let's see what I roll today. 1, 2, 3. Think anything good? Ooh, a crit and a hit, not bad. And then you get an extra dice if your opponent is exhausted. Ooh, an extra hit. So if Finklestein was exhausted, I would get that extra dice. She's pretty good, man. She's got a banger of a challenge with the Nightshade Soup. That's really good. Challenge 3, and if you time it right, you get challenge 4 for 2. That's pretty bonkers. She's got movement with the detachable arm. She's got swap places for defense. Man, Sally's so good. She's a nightmare to play against. Let's look at the Minion Master, Dr. Finklestein. Dr. Finklestein is a gray-yellow. He's a 2 defense, and his trait is Mad Scientist. At the start of the game, place the Igor minion token adjacent to Finklestein. When Finklestein becomes exhausted, Igor does a move 2, and then can push an ally 1 square. So at the beginning of the game, you drop Igor adjacent. So in any square adjacent, I don't think it says anything about... inside. That's a weird question. I don't know if you can set him outside the base. Personally, I would think that he would have to be in your starting area unless your starting area is full. So I would think adjacent in your starting area. Just like the arm, because the arm is the same thing. At the start of the game, place the detachable arm token adjacent to Sally. So yeah, at the start of the game, I would think it would be, as long as it's inside the starting area, if your area is not full. Because there's some maps where the area can be full if you have 3 characters and a couple minions. But as long as the starting area is not full, it just has to be adjacent, I would think. And then when Finklestein becomes exhausted, say you went 1, 2, and then you fought Sally, and then you knocked her over. You get exhausted, and then Finklestein gets to move, or Igor gets to move 2, and then he can push 1. So a push is any space away from whatever character's pushing. So I could push here, I could push here, I could push here. I could not push here, because that's 1 square away. It's still the same distance. It has to be 1 square farther, is a push. I've seen people who use Finklestein where he goes like here, and then you'll have Finklestein or Igor go here and push people into the base, or next to a flag. You keep Igor with Finklestein, or you keep him with somebody that you want to give that extra space of movement to. Because you can end up like getting stuck here and then getting the push next to the base, or next to the point, so you don't have to like move one and take C in the same turn. You can take C and then maybe do one of his other abilities. Moving is very big in the game, so having that extra 1 square could save you like over the course of a game at least three actions with the 1 square push. If you time it right, it could give you a full 4 squares or something by the end of the game. Alright, his second ability is It's Alive. Choose a token or marker within 2 squares of Dr. Finklestein. It does a range 2, challenge 3. So, say your opponent's here and Finkelstein's here. You can use It's Alive to have the point marker, because it's markers or tokens, do a range 2, challenge 3. So this point marker would do a challenge 3 to Sally. Even if she's here, it's still a range 2, challenge 3. Or I don't think he couldn't see through Sally, so he couldn't do that. But as long as, even if it's, I don't think it says ally either. So it's any token or marker. So even if Sally's arm was here, he can make Sally's arm fighter. So, say Sally's here, and the arm is here, you can use the arm to do a range attack against Sally. So any token or marker, it does a range 2, challenge 3. So if you're in your opponent's base and they have the flag marker, then they can make, Dr. Finkelstein can make your flag attack you, which is pretty crazy. That move has been a thorn in my side a couple of times, to where I've been in somebody's base and they make their flag attack me, and they can do it twice because it only costs 2 gray. 2 gray is so cheap for a challenge 3, and it's technically a range 4 challenge 3 because the marker has to be within 2, and then the marker gets another 2, which is range 4 challenge 3 for 2 is just, it's insane. That's a nightmare. Especially in flags and control, where there's markers and tokens and stuff on the board already, where you're not, if your opponent sees Dr. Finkelstein, or he wants to play around Dr. Finkelstein, they maybe might not take as many tokens, or they might take territories. But on control or flags, the extra markers already on the board is big for him. His third ability here is Brain Scratch. You get to move 2, and then you shift 2 things on your cooldown track down 1. Okay, so if you spend the gray 2, you get to move 2, and then you get to shift things down 1 on your cooldown track. And it's things, not just ability tokens or any point markers. It could be people too, like your characters, because it says things. So say Sally got knocked out earlier in the round, you can Brain Scratch to bring Sally off the cooldown track back to your starting area again. Which can be, it's like raising people from the dead. It's like a res type situation, where you can just res people right off the track with that. You move 2, and then if you've got a gray and Sally on your cooldown track, you move Sally back to your starting area and you get the gray back. And then if you wanted to, you could Brain Scratch again to move 2, I guess, and, you know, move something else down. Maybe you had 2 characters that were dead. Maybe you Brain Scratch again and bring Jack back. But Brain Scratch is like a res. You get to move 2, and anything on your cooldown track down 1. And since most of the time your characters only go to the 1 of your cooldown track, they come right off. You can snag them right off. Now that I'm just off the top of my head thinking about it, I wonder if there's a cool Finkelstein, Ray Arnold team where you can knock Ray Arnold out, and then Finkelstein can bring him back. I wonder if there's some weird way to cycle the knocking yourself out and unexhausting a character, and then bringing him back from the cooldown track. I mean, he would come back exhausted, I guess, but It'd be cool to save him the time. Dr. Finklestein he's crazy because you can do a whole bunch of things by bringing people off your cooldown track. He's got the range, and he's got Igor. Did I go over his first? Let's look at his first ability again, just in case I didn't. You may place or move the Igor token adjacent to Finklestein. Igor does a non-basic interact action. Oh, I didn't go over that one, I don't think. So if Igor gets knocked out, there's a way to replace him. Just like with the arm, you use the detachable arm to replace the token. You use Faithful Servant to replace Igor. So if Igor loses a fight, he gets knocked out, you can replace him adjacent to Finklestein, and he gets to do a non-interact basic action. Gets to move. Maybe he gets to assist. Maybe Sally's on your team and she's down, and you want to get Igor back. Drop him on the map. He can help her up. As long as it's not an interact. You can't take a control point, or you can't take a point marker. But you can assist, or you can drop him, and then Igor can move. Or maybe you want Igor to move 2, and then move another 2, because of the exhaustion. But being able to place the minion is important when it gets knocked out. Let's look at our 4th character from this pack, and I would say the most interesting, because I like to gamble. You guys like to gamble? If you like to gamble, then you'll like Oogie Boogie. He's a yellow-gray. He's got a 2 defense, which is jackpot. If Oogie rolls the normal or boogie dice and all the faces match, shift an ability token on your cooldown track down 1. So if you roll a dice, and both the faces match, say you spent I don't play fair to do it, and both the faces matched, you get to move an ability token down. It's not the same thing as Brain Scratch where you move things down, it's just an ability token. It's pretty specific on that. Just ability tokens. His first ability here is a gray 4, I don't play fair. Challenge 4, a 4 for 4. Roll both Oogie Boogie dice. If you roll 7 or more, shift a thing on your cooldown track down 2. Now there's the shift a thing. So you get to challenge 4. So it's a challenge move. You have to be next to somebody you have to challenge to do this. So you get your challenge 4. Let's see what I roll. Anything good? Oh, double crit hit. Finklestein could probably not block that unless he had some Harry Potter defense. So I would challenge 4, knock Finklestein over, and then I would roll these Oogie Boogie dice. And if I got 7 or more, do I? Ooh, I did. I got 5 and 5. Ooh, and I got the faces match. Okay, so the faces match, I would get jackpot, so I would move my ability token down. And I rolled over 7, so I would get to move a thing on my cooldown track down 2. So anything. So point markers, people, ability tokens. You can shift any, shift a thing down 2. So anything down 2. So say you're not worried about Sally, she's already exhausted, she's not going to do anything. You shift this point marker down. Or say you need Sally, and you can bring her down. It's anything. Just like Finkelstein's Brain Scratch, I don't play fair lets you shift anything down. So as long as it's on your cooldown track, you can move it. His second ability here is Gambling Boogeyman. It's a yellow 2. Move 2, and then roll both boogie dice. If you roll 7 or more, Oogie does another basic action. I gamble with the Boogeyman all the time. If you ever watch my stream, you'll see I boogie with the Gambling Boogeyman all the time. So you pay the 2, and then you get to move 2. Say you're over here, and you're trying to sneak up on Finklestein. You get to move 2, and then you get to roll the boogie dice again. And if you get 7 or more, you get to do a basic action. In here, I'm trying to attack Finklestein, so let's see if I get to do it. Yes, I would get my basic action against Finklestein, which would be a basic attack. Now I would roll a 2. But you can do other things. You can move 2, and then you can gamble to pick up the point. Let's see if I get to pick up the point. Oh, I did. I rolled. Man, I'm on fire. We're on fire, boys. So yeah, you get a bonus basic action if you roll 7 or more. So you move 2 and then you pick it up. You can move 2 and fight. You can move 2 and assist. Interact, assist, anything. You can do any basic action if you win that. The snake boogie dice. Ooh, snake eyes. See, I wouldn't be able to get to do the boogie action, but I would get to move something down because of jackpot. So rolling the dice can actually help you, even if you don't get the dice. The dice action that you want. But most of the time, rolling 7 or more, that's where it's at. Let's look at his third ability here. Snake and Spider Stew. Choose an ally Oogie can see within 3 squares and place them adjacent to Oogie. Roll both the dice, and if you roll 7 or more, they do a basic action. So, if you're here, Sally's here, and you want to get both, if you want to get both Sally and Oogie into the spot here, how would you do it? You would use Snake and Spider Stew. You would spend the yellow on 3, and then Oogie can see Sally. She's within 3, so she can go adjacent to him. And then we roll the dice to see if she gets to get in there. Now here's the gamble. If we get the right gamble and roll 7 or more. Oh, we did. We got 7. Sally would get to move in with her basic action, and then Oogie could use his second action to move in too. So if you're struggling with Oogie and you're like, oh man, how do I get both these characters in? She's so far. You can use Snake and Spider Stew to move her adjacent, and if you win that gamble, she gets a basic action in, and then you can move yourself in. He's so useful if you're rolling those dice and you're feeling lucky. He's an awesome gray-yellow. I like Oogie a lot. All 4 characters from this pack are very good. It's going to be tough putting them in the tier list. Let's take a look. Oof. All right. We're going to put Sally. I think we're going to put Sally ahead of Batman. She's so good. I don't think the lack of stand-up hurts her against these two. She can always swap if you keep your arm near. She's got better movement. She's got a better challenge. I think she might be better than these two. I definitely put her in the A tier. I'm not 100% sure where, but I'm thinking right here. Her combos are really good too with other characters. You can definitely use her with Black Widow. She's definitely somewhere in here. Oogie Boogie can be very, very good if you roll those dice, but the gamble can kill you. So I think he's an A2. Maybe better than Harley Quinn. Oh, it's just hard with the luck. Oh man, it's hard. I think he's at the bottom of A tier just because of the luck factor. If you don't roll those dice, then you just got a bunch of move 2s. You can... That's pretty much it. If you roll the dice and you keep losing, then all you have is a bunch of move 2 moves. And you're spending tokens to move 2. So, I mean, if Kool-Aid Man's dependent on walls and Shark is dependent on the matchup, then Oogie Boogie should get a little knock for having to gamble. Jack is good. He's a good support character, but it's hard to keep people within 2 squares. I think he's B tier. I don't think he's down here. I don't think he has good movement either. Maybe here. Maybe he's a B tier character. And then Finklestein being able, he's a nightmare to play against. Being able to move things down, and he has the range 4, challenge 3. I think here, maybe in the bottom of A tier, maybe right here. And this is all dependent on how well if you're feeling hot, if you're rolling those hot 7s, Oogie's your man. But if you're looking for a little bit more control over an area, if you're playing flags or control, then I think Finklestein's your man. I think this looks good for now. I'm shocked to see Sally so high, to be honest. If I'm going to say one thing about my own tier list, Sally being up here is pretty crazy to me. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys learned a little something about 4 Nightmare Before Christmas characters. I hope you guys find the packs. I'm pretty sure you can find them pretty cheap on Amazon still. If not, come to our Discord. We'll help you find a pack. Come find me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/YourBuddyJD. Right there. We're live right now. People watching right now. They're in chat. Come say hi. I'll see you in the next one. Lucky rolling.